How can support and connection actually enhance our own resilience? Y'all, this is lesson 4 of 10 in a research-based resilience curriculum designed specifically for our breast cancer patients. We're gonna walk through it together, one step at a time. So let's go, let's do this.
But on this ocean, every wave brings you closer to home. And no matter what you think, you are never alone.
Hey y'all, welcome back. This is lesson 4 of 10 in our research-based resilience curriculum for breast cancer patients. And in today's class, we're talking about that second pillar, support and connection. Quick review: in order to enhance our own resilience, there are 6 key components or pillars, and they are self-care and compassion, support and connection, positive effect, healthy coping, finding purpose, and mindfulness. And today's focus is on that support and connection. And when we have it, we can help strengthen our own resilience. It's important for us to remember that even though we have to be the ones to walk this rotten path, we don't have to do it alone. I always say that together we will weather the storm, because even though it's rotten, even though it's hard, there is support near you. So invite it in, let it come. Brene Brown, y'all know I'm a big fan of hers, in Rising Strong, she writes, "The irony is that we attempt to disown our difficult stories to appear more whole or more acceptable, but our wholeness, even our wholeheartedness, actually depends on the integration of all of our experiences, including the falls." She goes on to say that vulnerability is the birthplace of love and belonging. The truth is, it is okay for us to fall apart. It's okay for us to not always be perfect. It's okay for us to break, to cry, to scream, to lose it. I have. The truth is, we all have. We're all human. And to feel that unpleasant thud, to feel sadness and grief, or that incredible heartache, it's deeply human. And none of it takes away any one bit of your strength. So when Brene Brown says that vulnerability is that birthplace of love and belonging, lean into that vulnerability. Be authentic with those true experiences and those true feelings. Don't try to be perfect, because nobody is. And the reason why Brene's right when she says that, and that it opens up this support, is because when you do that, you can find safety and comfort from the normalization of the truths that we are all experiencing that in some form or another. And when we open up and we get that social support, guys, that is huge in helping to decrease depression and to help us recover from trauma. Silence, on the other hand, breeds shame. So don't do that. Be authentic with who you are and recognize that nothing's wrong with you. We're all feeling it. You just might not hear about it from everybody else. But know that it's normal and it's okay. It's okay to not always be okay. That's a line I got from therapy. Good stuff. So where can you find this support and connection? Well, there are 3 places you might find it: family and friends, support groups, and of course, huge advocate for therapy. So friends and family, when they want to help you and be there, don't push them away. They want to bring you a meal or start a meal train. Let them say thank you for how they're able to show up for you. Don't tell them no. You say thank you. Sometimes we're used to being the ones that always want to help and provide and support other people. And so when we're on the other end and we're receiving these blessings, we somehow feel bad about it. Don't. You say thank you. I had to have my head shaved because I had chemotherapy and I knew I was going to lose my hair. And oddly enough, losing my hair was somehow more traumatic for me than losing my breasts, which I know when you say that out loud, it doesn't really make much sense, but it did. It was more of this outward sign that I'm sick, and I was scared of how other people might see me, or how I might even see myself if I looked in the mirror, and all that it would make me think of, my mortality, and it just frightened the stink out of me. So when I went to go have my head shaved, my friends came with me, and I had one of my friends who just held my hand the whole time. I bawled my eyes out, and she was there for me and held tight to my hand and prayed with me and just stayed there. And my other friend was able to capture it. I asked her if she would take photos of it so that we could document this moment in my road to recovery. So these wonderful women showed up for me in very different ways, but they were there and supported me in a moment that I needed it. So say thank you. There are also support groups, right? So you can talk to your local hospital, ask your doctor's offices. Sometimes there are support groups that you can go to in person. But even still, there are support groups that you can find online. And I want to make sure that you also know that I started Keepers of the Flame, which is an online breast cancer resource center. So there's our website. But y'all, I even have this podcast, Keepers of the Flame. It's on iTunes and Google Play. And you don't have to call anyone or go anywhere or pay for anything. All this stuff is already in your phone. You just got to click the buttons to hear it, right? And on that podcast, you can hear directly from breast surgeons, nipple tattoo artists. You can hear from oncologists, and we even have a survivor series, so you can hear from other women who have been there and done that and are authentic with their own journey so that you can feel like you're even less alone, right? So check that out. And then, of course, last but certainly not least, you can also go to therapy. In fact, when somebody calls me and they're at the beginning of their treatment, that's what I recommend. I recommend you use that time at the beginning. You take control of this one thing. You make a phone call and you set up an appointment. You find somebody then so that you have that space carved out for you should you need it later. Therapy is a place where you can actually, you take this knotted old mess that's up here, you just do this dump, and they help you sift through and process things. And ultimately, it helps us tend to these emotional wounds that are part of this whole package deal. And if we're going to heal from our cancer physically, we need to heal from it emotionally too. And therapy is a place where that can be done. So I highly recommend it. So those are the people that you can find support in. But what are the different mediums in which you can find support? Well, there's the classic in-person. Then you can do a phone call or a text. You can email. You can even write the good old-fashioned snail mail letters. When I was going through treatment, one of my friends wrote me letters all the time, and I wrote her back. And it was so nice to just get this pick-me-up in my mailbox that let me know that somebody out there somewhere was thinking of me. And that was a support. That was a way that she showed up for me that gave me support and let me feel even less alone. You can even start your own blog. So maybe you want to update people, but you're tired of saying the same thing 1,000 times. Maybe you start a blog where you put all that information there and just give out the links so people can follow you that way. I want to leave you guys also with 3 truths. 3 truths. First one is that you are enough. As is, at this very moment, whether or not you're red puffy face from crying or you're broken into 1,000 pieces, as is, you are enough. It's not that you could be or that you might be one day. Right now, you are stronger than you probably give yourself credit for. You are enough. The second truth that I want to make sure everybody knows is that you're human. We all fall, we all bleed, we all ache. And it's not about avoiding that fall. It's about finding those feet and rising up again. And the third truth that I want to leave you with is that we all have scars, physical and emotional. They are marks that are placed on our bodies that show that we've lived, that we've endured, and that we've grown. They've shaped us, they softened us, and we are a newer version of ourselves from having lived. Life leaves its marks on us, good and bad. So we own your scars. Know that they're part of your story. They're not your entirety. And also, it's this huge important thing here to make sure that you find support and connection outside of cancer too. Right? So go on dates. Go to the movies, have game nights, go to sporting events, get out there, and live in the process of having to deal with all this other stuff too. I also encourage you to get connected with what they call your core values. So this is at the heart of who I am. This is what makes me me. This value is what makes me tick. This is what everything else is based upon. This is who I am. Ooh, how do you find out what that core value is? You can start by asking yourself, who am I outside of cancer? Ask yourself that question, get connected with your core values, and get involved and find support outside of cancer. I want to leave you guys with today's challenge or homework before next class, and that's just simply to find your people, right? Find your people. Call a friend, schedule a coffee date, call and get a therapist appointment set, write a letter, find your person. I look forward to seeing y'all next class. Talk to y'all later. Bye.